In this demonstration, we'll be discussing Vonage for Netsuite, the latest offering from Vonage Integration Suite that ties your Vonage Business Communications extension directly to Netsuite. So let's take a look. The Vonage Integration Suite connector runs on multiple platforms including Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, and Firefox. In this demonstration, we will be leveraging Google Chrome. Each user that will be leveraging the Vonage for NetSuite connector will receive an email that gives them instructions on how to download the connector of their choice and sign into it using the one-time sign-in code. Once they've signed in the upper right-hand corner, they will see a connector icon, and they can click on that to open up the actual panel. Inside this panel, you can see several tabs across the top. The first tab is your call history, which shows you all of the calls that you've made from the Vonage Business Communication System, as well as a matching name or account. This system, by default, talks to NetSuite every time a call comes in or goes out, and will try and find a matching contact. If all you do is take that call and hang up, the system will natively log that call in the activity section of NetSuite for you. You can see along the bottom the telephone number of the extension I'm logged into, as well as a dial pad. Inside this dial pad, I can dial their telephone number, copy and paste their number, or I can simply type in a name of the person I'm looking for, and I can see that in here. You also have the capability to mark these callers as fast dial or favorites by simply putting a star next to their name. This shows up in the second tab and allows you to more quickly and effectively reach out to these customers with a simple click to dial. The third tab shows you all of the CRMs or productivity suites that you are connected to, and the Vonage Integration Suite does support multiple CRMs and productivity suites, allowing you to log data in multiple places at once. However, in this demonstration, we'll only be discussing NetSuite. You can also see which account you're signed into under the NetSuite system. At the bottom, I have customizations that I can enable, such as, do I want my click to dial to work on every website that I visit or not? Do I want to leverage Web Launcher, essentially allowing me to open another tab during the course of the call on another website? If I have a microphone or headset on my computer or laptop, I have the capability to dictate the notes directly into the system rather than typing them out. I also have the capability to hide my call history and my fast dial favorites tabs at the top. And we even give you a call notes section, allowing you to store notes freely and securely in our Vonage Integration Suite system. The announcement icon will show you any upcoming changes coming to the Vonage Integration Suite system, as well as any recent changes that we've made. And the feedback section next to it allows you to go in and send the product team feedback on your experience with the Vonage Integration Suite connector, as well as make any recommendations for feature enhancements that you'd like to see. The last button is the profile button, and this allows you to do things like modify your settings, get questions or answers about the connector. You can look at user reporting and metrics. And if you're signed in as an administrator on the connector, you can go to the administrative web portal to see all of your users' interactions with the system, as well as make customizations to the actual screen pops to suit your needs, which we will cover later in this demonstration. So let's take a look at the actual call pop itself. You can see here on this last call that I actually had 4 different tasks or notes or cases that were recorded, and I could click on those individually, or in this case, I can click on the name. Depending upon how you have the settings configured in your system, you can actually have the screen pop come up automatically on an inbound or outbound call. In this case, I have the actual screen pop open, and you can see that the phone call was logged directly to Avengers Inc. as a prospect. I can open up by clicking on this icon here. I can open the prospect's account information inside of NetSuite to see all of the logged calls from everyone, or if I want to see just the individual record, I can click on it down at the bottom. I also have the ability to create a new call if I want to, and this allows me to add any additional information or supplemental information that was needed. Most importantly is this home button. This allows me to go in, for example, if I had a multiple match found, which is common when a company publishes a single caller ID, but you might have multiple users of that company that you talk to. From in here, I can simply select the user and drag and drop their information into the appropriate phone call, note, support, or task that I want to create, and it will automatically generate the tab across the top for you. Or if the customer's not found or they're new, I can simply add that information at the top by clicking on the appropriate button. These fields can be modified from the administrative panel, which will be shown later in this demonstration. I also have a history button, which allows me to see my interaction with this particular phone number or a customer during the course of my call. So for example, if I'm a support organization and I have a support case for this call, I can go back through my notes and see if I have any prior cases that were opened with this particular phone number at any time, and I can click on it and see that additional information opened in another tab at the top of the screen. I also have the capability to control the call by calling that customer back if they get disconnected, hanging up the call, placing them on hold, or transferring the call. So let's take a look at some of the customizations that you can do from the user perspective. If I click on my profile tab and click on settings, I have the ability to configure how my auto pop activity works. So if I want it to only pop on an inbound call when I answered the call, or every time I make an outbound call, I could simply place check marks in this screen, hit save and close, and on the next call activity, it will do what I told it to do. I also have the capability to synchronize my contacts in cases where I added the information directly to NetSuite rather than adding it from inside of the Vonage integration suite. The system automatically synchronizes once a day, but if I need to see that information more quickly, I can click this button here. I also have the ability to exclude certain websites from having the click to dial functionality. So for example, if I have an internal website that I don't want click to dial to work on, I can simply add that here. At the bottom, I can customize my window appearance. So if I don't want to receive a desktop notification when I make inbound or outbound calls, I can turn that off. Or if I want to have my screen pop activity window to be large or small or custom, I can configure that in here. And I can do the same thing with my panel that we're using here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the administrative web portal. Inside the administrative web portal, I have the capability to look at call summary, which shows me all of my inbound and outbound calls, as well as their total time. More importantly, at the bottom, I can actually see this in a graph, showing me my highs and lows of my call activities based on a calendar. I can customize this range at the top of the screen by putting in the information at the top. And I can also set this to auto refresh so that if I want to use this as a wall board in my call center, I can put it up there to automatically refresh. This is a great forecasting tool that allows me to ensure that my staff is appropriately placed during certain times of the day. If I have a larger team, I can click on the Users tab, and this will show me all of the users that are leveraging the NetSuite connector. I can see their inbound and outbound calls. And more importantly, I can type out their names one by one, and I can select them so that I can only see my team. Once I have this information customized, I can go to my call detail records, and this allows me to see all of the call logs that show not only the phone number, direction, and duration, but also the matching information from NetSuite, so I know exactly who I talked to. I also have the capability to go in the My Account section and make more modifications to the system. You can see at the bottom which users are actually logged into the system, what their status is. I also have the capability to click on that information and see their activation code. In an example where a user gets the email, but for some reason they're unable to find it, I can simply go in here and copy and paste their one-time code and send it to them, or I can click on the resend welcome email. I can go into this system and customize my screen pops as I discussed earlier. How we do that is 3 buttons. You have the main NetSuite button and these 2 additional buttons. Each one stacks on the capabilities of your customization. The first button allows me to go in and set my default activities, meaning, do I want it to log a call if it's a 0 duration call, like a missed call? Do I want it to automatically log when there's only 1 match found? Do I want it to log when there's multiple matches found, etc.? What do I want that default activity that's being stored in NetSuite to look like? You can move these variables around to suit your needs so that it logs it appropriately for you. When you're done, hit save. Step 2 is the next button. This shows you where it is syncing or looking for contacts or account information in the system, and you can enable or disable these at any time. At the bottom, you can actually enable or disable the default activity types. In your environment, you may not want to take notes or tasks, but you do need to be able to log phone calls and create support cases, so you can simply remove the check marks and hit close. The third and final customization is the wrench. This brings you into the advanced custom layout builder. This will allow you to go in and actually create a custom layout. And while this loads, there's a few other things I want to mention. The Vonage integration suite system is designed to natively synchronize your contacts every day, which we've already talked about. However, we always recommend that if you're going to add leads or opportunities or contact information into the system, that you do so from within the integration suite, because this will automatically store it in both places. Now that this window is popped up, you can see all of the different fields that are available to me in my support case creation. In our instance of NetSuite, we have 82 fields. You may have more or less. However, what this allows me to do is drag and drop the placement of my fields. I also can click on the gear to make it a required field or make it always visible, or exclude those fields if I know I'm not going to use them. Once I've created my custom view, I can simply give it a layout name and I can hit create. This will allow you to create multiple views for multiple departments or groups if needed. Once that's done, it allows you to go in as a user in the screen pop section, and you can go in and see at the bottom your pop-ups. So if I hit create new case, for example, I now have this form available. When I hit standard case, it will dynamically change this metadata for me. You only need to select this one time as a user once that field has been created. After you select it, it will not change unless you go in and manually change it. We hope you've enjoyed this demonstration of Vonage for NetSuite.